promising Dodger starter heading to Baltimore. Could this be true? Is he gone? We'll get to that story right away. But first off, Brad J here with you, Dodger Digest. Let's just talk about the pitching with the Dodgers. First of all, hit the subscribe, hit the like, turn on notifications, be part of the fastest growing revolution that is Dodger Digest. Okay, now when we start talking pitching with the Dodgers, everybody has been saying since the start of the offseason, the Dodgers have so much more pitching than they did last year. You remember last year, went through problems, had to have bullpen games where numerous pitchers had to come in out of the bullpen and pitch to make up because the deficit of starting pitching. We don't have a deficit in starting pitching, and why not use the opportunity to possibly trade someone from the Dodgers who's not planned in the 5 or 6 man rotation to start the season and pick up something else. And if you have to look at something else, where would you see another deficiency with the Dodgers? To me, I'm thinking outfield, okay? I think that we need a few more outfielders in the mix and maybe some young guns on that. So you got to look at the situation. You got to look at it with a clear head. What do the Dodgers need? Do they need infielders? I mean, look, you got Kim going to AAA. Not sure how he's going to do. A lot of infielders that are going to be starting out in OKC that could play for the team. So if you're looking at a deficit, I feel that the deficit would be an outfielder. So if you're going to trade anyone for anything, I think you got to do it the right way. And let's get right into the story. New trade idea sends Los Angeles Dodgers promising young right-hand pitcher to the AL rival. And who could we be talking about? Who actually could we be talking about in this one? I mean, you got to figure it out. Think about it. He's not up with the major league team right now. He's not one of the factored in top 6 guys. He's going to start in OKC. So if you can get something for this guy, why wouldn't you do it? Huh? Why wouldn't you do it? And here's what the Bleacher Report has proposed, the trade scenario again. What's the scenario? Well, suggesting that Baltimore Orioles could acquire right-handed pitcher, you guessed it, Miller time, Bobby Miller from the Dodgers in exchange for outfielder Vance Honeycutt from the Orioles. And you're like, who? Who's Vance Honeycutt? Has he even played in the major leagues? He's played minor leagues, but he is the number 4 prospect. This potential deal presents distinct advantages for both teams. Yes, for one, Bobby Miller could be a big acquisition for the Orioles because they need it. You know what they've lost over the season in the offseason, so they need another pitcher. And the Los Angeles Dodgers, well, you know what? Orioles number 4, what would that be, like Dodgers number 14 or something like that? Outfielder Vance Honeycutt. And once again, a lot of you are like, Vance Honeycutt. Brad J., I've never even heard of that dude. Do you know that in spring training, Vance Honeycutt had an inside the park home run? Did you know that? There's the man right there, Vance Honeycutt, inside the park home run. So, okay. So one thing we do know about Vance, we don't have any stats for him for Major League Baseball because he's only played in the minors, but we do know that he did have an inside the park home run. You got to have wheels to get that. So that's not the only reason that I'm even saying that. Let's look at Miller's stats as before we break down Vance on that. So here's what Miller's done. Okay, there's his numbers right there. 2024, you see the large ERA, 8.52. He got figured out a few times, that's for sure. Look at the earned runs. Look at the wins and loss records. It wasn't the best year for him. So if there's a year to trade him, would this be the one? You see what he did in the 23 season. And that's what the Dodgers really were hyped up on how he performed. Went 11-4 at a 3.76 ERA in 23, and then it ballooned in 2024. So he's not even set to start. So do you believe that is a good idea? Hey, he's a trade bait. We could use a young outfielder, and this Honeycutt kid is only 21 years old. So to me, I think that's not a bad thing. And look at what the Dodgers have starting pitching-wise already. You got Snell, okay? You got Yamamoto. You got Glasnow. You got Sasaki. And then May, who looked solid yesterday. What was that, 5 strikeouts for May? Then you got May. And then you got Shohei when he's ready, and he's starting back to get back into his pitching form now that they're back ready to start the season tomorrow. So that's the deal right there. And then you go to the injured list and just take a look at the injured list. Gonsolin, he's out on a 15-day IL. Sheehan is out for a 15-day IL. Kershaw, Stone, and Ryan all listed as 60-day. Kershaw could be sooner than that. We don't know. But you look at that, there's 6, there's 7, and then you look at, Knack, who's not even up in the major league. He'll be in OKC to start too as well. So it's like you have a plethora, and that is a big word for me to say it, okay? You have a plethora of starting pitching. So why wouldn't you do something like that? Why wouldn't you trade for something that could help out the team and have some young outfield? Because look, Teo's not a young dude. Conforto's not a super young dude. So you want to keep your outfield somewhat young at some point. So you want someone who can come in and make a difference. And what has he done? What is Vance Honeycutt, or Robert Vance Honeycutt done? 21 years old, outfielder, no MLB stats. But the dude's got wheels. He's already proven that by, the inside the park home run. But then you look, he's had in the minors last year, not the best year for him. I think the Dodgers can help out because I don't like his strikeout. It's like 50% almost on strikeouts for him, maybe 49%. Had 51 at-bats last year in the minors, but struck out 24 times. Okay, you're like, Brad, we don't want a dude like that. But hear me out. Dodger coaches can help that out, okay? They can help change things on him. He's promising because you have to think about it. He's only 21 years old. Had 4 stolen bags. With 51 at-bats and getting 4 stolen bases, that's solid stuff. You got to give that to him. But no home run, doesn't have the big home run power, had a dub, had 9 hits out of 51 at-bats, which is not a lot. His average was pretty low, 176. But he's on the low side coming up, okay? He's battled a little bit, but once again, the dude is 21 years old. So you've got to think that he's got a good shot at doing something for the Dodgers. And once again, I always say the Dodgers, they know how to train these guys. They know how to fix them if they strike out a lot. Look, the Dodgers don't strike out a lot. The team leads it in walks. So you got to think that's solid. All right. So what is Honeycutt? I mean, we saw what he's done, right? But the Dodger starters, look at the list, man. There's the list of all the Dodger starters that you have, right? These are all guys that can, and you can see the bottom ones, the bottom 5. Those are all on the injured list. But you have, once again, a plethora of Dodger pitching, and you got to do something about it. And if there's an opportunity to make your outfield just a little bit younger and a guy that can grow with the organization, to me, I like it. I like what the Bleacher Report is putting there, and I like that as something that you could do. Now, a lot of people are going to give me a lot of flack for that, but hey, that's just the way it is. You're going to have some trade bait. You can't just be comfortable with the exact same team. You've got to make moves, and I feel like the Dodgers at this point are going to have to make a move, and who's it going to be? But I feel like you have a plethora of pitching. That's the one you got to look at, and that's the one you got to work at first. So there you go on that. And will he be out of here? Time will tell. We'll cover the stories here on Dodger Digest. Hey, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brad J. Hit the subscribe button. Always remember, as you go through your awesome day, to think Dodger Blue.